What do you see? These kids have probably an empty stomach, but not just because they didn't eat breakfast, but they have probably not eaten a proper meal since 3 days ago at least. These kids still go to school, and instead they have to go with the mother to a traffic light to go ask for money on the mother's shoulder all day long. These kids don't have the new iPad or the best toy, but still, why are they happy? What I see in this image is a huge potential of a successful country and world. But right now, this potential is stuck and suffering. Their lives aren't easy, and in the path that they are living right now, the most probable thing that they will end up doing is either being in gangs, drug dealers, or things like this. This is the future that we're giving our childhood right now. Now, let me ask you a question. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you see a gang member or thief? My first thought used to be that they were horrible people. But right now, when I see a thief, what I see is their inner child, suffering and stuck. Because that child probably grew up without love and care. His family was a disaster, and he was abused when he was a child. As he didn't went to school, his home became the streets. He started hanging out with the wrong type of people. And as he cared for him, he went deeper. And then, imagine, one day he wants to be a good person and work. When he goes to the job interview, he's already in disadvantage because he didn't went to school. And then, if he gets to a polygraph test, they're going to ask him if he was ever a gang member who has ever consumed drugs. The answer of the questions was obviously yes. So he has no job and he still has to make a living. So he returns to the cycle. Approximately 263 million kids are out of school and have no education worldwide. 69 million kids suffer of chronic malnutrition, and children represent almost half of all people in extreme poverty. This is a reality. Our roots can either be positive or negative, but what they are affect who you are and your future. We are growing our roots in our childhood stage. When we're kids, we're constantly absorbing and learning from everything we can. But if you had a horrible childhood, learned that hitting and abusing was normal, never went to school, this is what your roots become. Because all humans come to a world pure and good-hearted. But if you had a horrible childhood, you start to rotten, and with your roots, yourself. But look at these children. They're beautiful, good-hearted, and happy. We still have an opportunity. And that is why it is so important that we start creating new long-term projects urgently so that we can improve the new generations. A huge example is Marcos Andres Antil. He is a Guatemalan that was born in Huehuetenango. All his family emigrated to the US when he was just a kid. When he turned 12 years old, his turn arrived. So he emigrated to the US. When he got there, he started school. But school became really hard for him because kids were always mocking him, and he didn't understand classes because as he didn't know any English. School started becoming hell for him, so he decided to quit. His father told him it was okay to quit, but if he wasn't going to school, he had to work instead. He started working in an industrial laundry company. Once, while ironing a shirt, he burned his whole hand. When he went to his father and told him the previous events, his father told him it was good that he burned his hand, because then he would learn what he would have to do for the rest of his life if he didn't went to school. This impacted him, so he decided to work really hard and returned to school, and graduated. After graduating, he started working as a gardener in a very wealthy person's house. Once, he saw a check for a huge amount of money. He was really curious and asked the owner what he did. The owner answered computer science. He taught him a little bit. He was really motivated and curious, so he decided to study in State College Computer Science. After many challenges and a lot of hard work, now he has one of the biggest software companies in Latin America in over 3 countries. Marcos built his way up to success. But why did this happen? What made him the exception? To my perception, it was because of the environment and the values he grew in. By immigrating to the US, he wasn't the only one improving, but all his family absorbed the community values, so that helping create strong roots in his childhood stage. Then, by accessing to basic opportunities, he was able to open many doors. He was inspired by the community and motivated. But how could we, Guatemala, create an environment and community where we motivate kids to continue learning and we give all the basic opportunities so that they can create their way up to success. First, we need to end this vicious cycle. But how do we end this vicious cycle? We need to organize ourselves and create a new system, because the system right now is rotten and we know it isn't working. A new system that benefits not only childhood, but the country's success. We need to create a new system to prioritize childhood. And for this, we need these basic 4 steps. First, we need to teach people to love themselves, others, and the environment. Because in order to love others, you first need to love yourself. And if you do this, the community immediately starts improving. Scouts is a really good project that can help children accomplish these steps, because they grow in a healthy environment where they are creating good roots, values, while having fun. Then, parent school, oriented on self-development. Parents are already adults, and most of the roots are already grown, and they're already on the vicious cycle. But in order to improve the younger generations, it is non-negotiable that we teach parents to self-develop. Scouts is not only a project that can help childhood, but they can also create parent programs where they teach parents to be better people, where they help them tear the bad roots and start creating new ones. This is a really long project that would definitely not happen overnight, because change is hard, and even harder where people are comfortable in the vicious cycle. Health. Health is a must in everyone's life. Health affects how happy and intelligent you are. Most of the people on the vicious cycle suffer of chronic malnutrition, which means they were properly nourished in the first 1,000 days of life, which will immediately decrease your genetics and you will never be able to reach your full potential. You'll be smaller in height, you'll be more vulnerable to diseases and infections, and mainly your brain won't fully develop, so learning will be harder for you automatically. Health affects many matters, but a really important matter that it affects is education. The relationship between education and health is never a simple one. Poor health not only results from lower educational attainment, it can also interfere with schooling and cause educational setbacks. For example, people with chronic malnutrition and other chronic illnesses may experience absences and have more difficulty concentrating, research by the Virginia Commonwealth University. But in order to improve health and all the problems that comes, we need to create health checkup points all over the country, including the smallest towns, where pregnant mothers get enough information and receive serum and vitamins, where mothers on their pregnancy stage stay healthy and nourished, and they give only breast milk to their baby on the first year of life. And people, by paying taxes, can access to high-quality health, where they can go to a doctor anytime they need to, with properly trained doctors, medicine, and equipment. And last but not least, we need education. Academic education is a key that opens thousands of doors. It gives many benefits to kids. They are not only learning, which is going to give them a lot of life and work opportunities, but they are going in a healthy environment. Most of the people in the vicious cycle don't have any education. The National Center of Children in Poverty studies show that 73% of children whose parents have less than a high school diploma live in high extreme poverty families, which only proves the high impact that education has on the vicious cycle, and the less education, the bigger their cycle becomes. There are many reasons why kids aren't going to school or quitting school. It may be because their parents can't afford it, or because they had to quit to go help their families and work. First, we need to solve the reasons why kids aren't going to school, and this is something where parent school impacts a lot. Most developing countries, education is given, but in poor and scarce ways. We need to create a new system where kids are having high results, and this will not only affect the kids' future, but the country's success. We are like seeds. Depending on the environment we grow, if we receive love, care, water, sun, they turn out great. But if you do the opposite, and they grow with hate, you step on them, they don't receive sun, they turn into bad weed, and the cycle reproduces, because their seeds are going to become probably bad weed too. We need to end this cycle by generations and make sure that each generation receives these 4 steps so we can be able to improve. At the end, we are all trees. We can either grow tall, strong, and bring good to the forest, or we can be weak, small, and contribute to a vicious cycle. We need to create beautiful forests that at the end are going to create a successful country. So we need to create good seeds and make sure they have a positive childhood and environment that forms them. So today, I invite you all to start making forests. Thank you very much.